truck showed out. November the 14th, 1971, 12:21 a.m. I brought a king in.
Amen.
And I'm very, very, very proud of my king. I love you, baby.
I haven't celebrated my birthday since I was about 15, 16. I haven't even taken no acknowledgement of it. You know, that is what prison done to me. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. Childhood was pretty good in the 70s. Childhood was wonderful until like the 80s.
Steve Young reports on a new kind of cocaine called crack, a drug so pure and so strong it might just as well be called crack of doom.
Crack, you know, it engulfed the neighborhood when the violence came along with crack. These are like the last 3 pictures I took before I got locked up. These guys I went to school with, guys in the neighborhood, and now half of them are dead. This is a picture of my uncle. We call him Junior. I had to identify his body at the morgue. Someone robbed him and shot him. After that, I began to go through like a downward spiral, and then I started selling drugs. It was in 1989, I was selling drugs, and I was approached by 3 gentlemen, and the guy ended up pulling out a gun and shot 3 times at me. And it really wasn't about killing him, Mr. English, and I want to be respectful and give him his name. But Mr. English reached for a weapon, and in turn, I fired 1 shot. And then he fell and perished. As a juvenile, from the date of arrest until the date of release, I was serving my time and sentence in all adult institutions. 31 years, 6 months, 15 days, and 5 hours.
This picture is myself, my 2 sisters, my little brother, my mom, and my stepfather. This picture was taken right after I was released. I was incarcerated at the age of 9, released when I was 11.
My name is Roszetta Timmons. I'm 55 years old, and I've spent over half of my life in prison.
I come here for healing. At the age of 15, I was brought into this park. I was raped, tortured, tied to a tree and left for dead. So I come to this park to let that little girl that was harmed know that you safe now. You go ahead and ride in the passenger seat and let me do the driving.
I was 15 years old when I was first sent to an adult prison. Even at 9 years old going to jail, they didn't talk about trauma. A nurse had come, made sure you physically okay, but mentally they didn't, so they just kept me sedated. I grew up in an era where heroin and cocaine just came out of nowhere, and it's like everyone was doing it. And little did my mother know that while they were partying downstairs, I was being sexually abused upstairs.
I love you, Mom. I miss you.
I tried talking to my mom, but my mother was in active addiction. So she really could not comprehend what I was saying to her. And the more I tried to tell my father what had happened to me, he would not believe that his son was capable of anything like that. So I got punished for being raped. At 17 years old, I defended myself against my brother. And as a result of me defending myself, my brother died, and I was taken to prison. I ended up doing 26 and a half years.
It's incredibly important that even if kids commit wrongdoing or are accused of wrongdoing, that we don't treat them like beasts or monsters. Young people who are in the criminal justice system, 75 to 93% of them are experiencing high adverse childhood experiences. ACEs, or adverse childhood experiences, means that certain set of factors that kids experience have a pretty traumatic impact on them.
Prior to your 18th birthday, that a parent or other adult in the household often or very often swear at you, insult you, put you down, or humiliate you. Yes.
The brain itself does not develop fully until about 25 or 26. And so kids are going to make mistakes. Young people exposed to trauma are gonna be prone to make even bigger mistakes. And that doesn't mean that accountability isn't important. What it does mean is that the focus has to be on the proper services that kids need to get to those underlying issues that, after all, are bringing them into the criminal justice system to begin with.
I grew up in an illegal family. Everything was illegal. I knew how to do the manufacturing and the selling the drugs and the collecting the monies, but I still could not write my own name.
This picture is right after I got my GED. I took that test 22 times and failed and failed and failed. But something in me would not allow me to give up.
And on the 23rd time, I passed it. And you would have thought I hit the lotto, you know, and today I read everything. And I love writing poetry. It's something that helps me heal because I basically write a letter to myself.
Over the last 8 years, we have diverted thousands of young people from the traditional throw the book and prosecute and max sentence approach. That could be counseling, mental health support, drug abuse services, or just good old-fashioned mentoring. The young people who completed the intense services that were tailored to their needs, by a factor of 75 to 80%, were less likely to recidivate.
When life is something that you dread and you have to ask why me, then when the world seems right and true, when you feel happy being you, please ask yourself, why me then too?
The evidence is overwhelming. Where health-based approaches to violence are utilized, particularly with kids, communities are safer.
All these individuals who was juveniles that was in one prison, some have died while trying to get their freedom. Did anyone assess me for trauma or anything like that when I was arrested? No. My rehabilitation was my responsibility. And so while in prison, I created an organization called Positive Change, and it stood for Positive Citizens Helping a New Generation Evolve. And so at that time, I wrote this legislation, which was then titled Youthful Offenders Rehabilitation and Second Chance Act, what is now known as the Juvenile Restoration Act. I wrote this while in prison. This bill passed in 2021 that says individual who's a juvenile should be given a second chance because their brain wasn't completely developed.
While I am encouraged that more jurisdictions are focusing on the importance of ACEs or adverse childhood experiences, we really need to do more work around standardizing the right questions to ask that lead to the right diagnosis, that leads to the right mix of services that can help a kid grow beyond their trauma.
Walking out of prison, I told guys, I don't have no money to send nobody, but I'm gonna give you my energy. I'm gonna give you my effort. And I haven't stopped. I work with men and women who come home from prison, helping them on the road to getting their life together. Are you receiving your assistance? Because ain't no use you getting all these benefits and not using them. I volunteer with a nonprofit organization. We do toy drives. We give away food on Thanksgiving. It's a small thing. It's like my token of trying to repair some of the damage that I caused as a child, as a juvenile. In my leisure time, I do different things to heal myself, to bring comfort to myself. And some things I do just because they were denied from me for so long. You know, I go horseback riding, and it's just being out there alone in nature. It's a part of my healing process. It's a part of me learning how to live life in the free world as an adult man.
I'm in transitional housing. They assign you a case manager. They assign you a therapist, a certified therapist. We have groups like on relationships, substance abuse. If I had the resources when I was younger that I do have now, I believe that my life would have been different. I cannot say that everything would have been different, but I believe I'd have been on a better path. This picture is the first time my baby girl, my daughter, was able to come and see me during my incarceration. I had her in prison, and this is the first time I had. This is the first time I had seen my daughter. One of the best things about being out of prison is family.
I downloaded Roblox.
You downloaded what?
Roblox.
What's Roblox?
It's a game.
Oh, okay. And all the love and tender care and all that stuff that come with being a mom that I wasn't able to do for my children, I do for my grandchildren. I'm becoming the woman that I was always meant to be. And every day is not peaches and creams for me because sometimes I still have nightmares. But I'm getting there one day at a time.
I love you.
I love you too, granddaughter.
I love you 100%.
Young people are only going to become adults. And the best thing to do is to teach them, love them, counsel them, give them the services that they need so that they can be law-abiding, contributing members to our society when they're adults.